Friends, here is part 2 of my review of the Case Hobo knife. Alright, now we already had part 1 where we checked out all the cool features of this really cool knife from Case, which has a knife, a fork, and a spoon all in one cool package. And that video will be on my playlist. This is it here, Hobo, the Ultimate Barbecue Knife. So check my playlist for that. But in this video, we are going to cook up some barbecue. And we're going to use the Hobo knife to do all the prep and then do all the eating on this beautiful barbecue right here. But before we get started, please take a moment to subscribe to the channel, like this video, and share it to any of your friends who might like similar knife content. It's what keeps the channel going. Thank you. Alright, like we said, in part 1 of the video, we got all up and close and personal, and we showed you how the Case Hobo separates into 3 distinct utensils that we need to prep and eat our barbecue that we're going to make today. A fork, a spoon, and a knife, and they're all stainless steel. That's pretty cool, huh? And we are going to move into the kitchen now and start giving this Case Hobo a thorough workout and review, making our barbecue for the day, Memorial Day. Alright, so we're going to start with a tray and a big old pack of chicken wings. And we're going to break down those chicken wings into the drumettes and the wingettes. Now, as I showed you before, then segment 1, the knife has some lugs that stick out, and that's how the sides attach. So just to make the knife more comfortable, I wrapped a paper towel around it. Also make it a little more sanitary with the chicken. So this clip point blade, which is 3 1/4 inches long, it's razor sharp. We did the sharp test in the segment 1, and it passed that test with flying colors, and it's cutting right through the joints of these chicken wings, no problem. Once I find the joint, it slices through them like butter. So check and see how that's doing, and we're going to throw away the tips of the wings. I don't eat those. Some people do, but I just go ahead and toss those in the can. It's not like I'm going to make chicken stock or anything. But I will say, this Case Hobo, while not being the perfect knife for the task, is doing fabulous. It is tearing through these chicken wings like nothing. With that paper towel wrapped around the handle, it gives me a comfortable grip, and no complaints. I'll go ahead and give this thing a good strong B+ for cutting up these chicken wings. What do you think? I think like it's doing a pretty easy job on them, don't it? Alright, so next up we're going to wash up these chicken wings and put them in a pan here. Separate them. I like to separate them from the drumettes and the wingettes, but they all get mixed together later anyway. And the most important part of my chicken wing recipe is you got to dry it really good with a paper towel. Pat those things down, get all that extra moisture off of them, put a towel underneath them to soak that up, and put them in the refrigerator. And while they're in the refrigerator, we'll go ahead and start mixing up our beans. I like these Van Camp beans, and I like a nice sweet Vidalia onion mixed in there. So let's see how the Hobo does cutting up a large Vidalia onion. Alright, so let's clean that part off, get that outer skin out of the way, and let's see if we can dice up this onion with this 3 1/4 inch clip point blade. And you know what? It's doing a fine job. Yeah, I got to be careful I don't cut myself, but you know, look at that. No worries. You know, yeah, it's not a chef knife, but it's a camp knife, and we're camping, right? We're in an RV. So it's the only knife that we have. It'll work just fine. Alright, the bad thing it does is the Hobo doesn't have a can opener, and neither did I. But I did have a Swiss Army Tinker. So I broke out my Swiss Army Tinker, and let me tell you, I went and bought a can opener the next day, because that is not an easy chore trying to open that can up with that can opener on that Tinker. I should have tried to open it by the side. I went through the top. I don't know. But I did go buy me a can opener the next day. Alright, so we're going to put the whole can of beans in here with about a third of a chopped up onion. I like a lot of the sweet onion. Some people don't. But, and I like the Van Camp bean. Some people like Bush. I like starting out. The Van Camp's just has a nice tomato flavor in it. It doesn't have a lot of stuff added, so I can add my own flavors to it. And I've been doing it this way for a long time. Alright, so now we're going to take some dark brown sugar. You can use light brown sugar if you got it. You just got to put more in there. But I put, I don't know, about half a cup for that 1 can of beans and onions. I'll take that hobo spoon and mix that up perfectly. Get it all mixed up in there. Alright, now we're going to put some Sweet Baby Ray's, because that's what I got. And let me tell you, there's nothing wrong with Sweet Baby Ray's. You can doctor this stuff up and make pretty good barbecue sauce. I make my own, but you know what? I'm not going to do that today. This stuff's $3 and something at Walmart, and it works just fine for what I'm doing here. Alright, we need to put some meat in here, but we don't have any. We're going to cook some of the meat off the ribs, the flat meat and stuff like that, and mix this in later. And check out the power of editing. Now we got the Case Hobo spoon mixing in our flat meat that we cut off the ribs and cooked when we cooked our ribs. And now we're mixing it into the beans that we had ready sitting in the refrigerator. Alright, check that out. Don't they look good? So we're going to stick those back on the grill and cook those on the grill with the chicken wings and the ribs. Alright. So here we're back to the chicken wings. These have been sitting in the refrigerator. That refrigerator helps dry them off a little bit. We got the hobo fork and we got some Weber tailgater. Right? Now you can make your own seasoning. I've made my own seasoning plenty of times, but I found that a lot of the store-bought stuff is just a lot cheaper to go ahead and buy it pre-mixed. And I really like Weber products, and I really like this Weber tailgater. If you haven't tried that, it's a pretty good barbecue seasoning for use on chicken, pork, and beef. It works great for all three, and you can always add a little bit of extra ingredients on top of it if you like to kick it up a notch. But it is a nice, basic, great flavor with all the basic ingredients already in it. That's only like $2 on something for this little thing, so it's fairly economical to buy. But anyway, we're just going to get that all mixed in on these chicken wings here real good, using the hobo fork to turn everything and keep our hands clean because we don't want cross-contamination with the chicken. And now we're throwing those wings onto the Bullseye pellet smoker. And this is the very first cook we've done on the Bullseye pellet smoker. And friends, let me know in the comment if you want me to do just a video on this Reqtec smoker. I will if I get enough requests. But I'm trying to keep this video here about using the Case Hobo knife and prepping our barbecue. Alright, so we got the knife again wrapped in a paper towel. And we're going to go ahead and trim up this big old slab of ribs. Alright, this should be the ultimate test for a universal camp knife like the Hobo. And let's see how it does. So, get this package. I got these at Walmart. I like the ribs from Walmart. I know they put a solution in there to help tenderize it, and that's why they're so juicy or bloody or what you want to call it, like this one here is. But I have it on my drying rack on my sink, so I'm not really worried about it. Most of that's just dripping right down the sink. First thing I'm going to do is get me a cutting board over here so I can put my trimmings on it. And we are going to grab this flap right here and cut that off the back side of the ribs. Now you hear me talk about a rounded spine on a knife. Alright, and that's exactly what we're talking about here. That area right there, I like it to be rounded, not beveled, because I like to use it because I slide it underneath the silver skin and I put the spine side up, and if it's sharp, it'll cut that silver skin. But if it's rounded, it'll let me peel it up without cutting it, and all I got to do is stick my thumb up under there and rip that skin right on off those ribs in one piece. Now this one had a little rip in it already, and it didn't work out so great. And instead of fighting trying to get the rest of that skin off, I'm just going to score it a few times, and that'll work just fine. I got the bulk of it off. Alright, but these ribs have a lot of extra meat, and I want them to be St. Louis. I want them to look pretty, so I'm going to go ahead and trim these down. Don't worry, none of that meat is going to go to waste. I'm going to freeze a good portion of it, and a good portion of it's going to go in our baked beans that you saw earlier. Alright, so let's get this flipped around here. Now the end of this slab of ribs, well, there's no ribs from here down, so I'm going to go ahead and cut this off. There is one small rib right there. Let me, there we go. Alright, so nobody wants to just eat it like that. Everybody wants a nice rib. And then the top of it here, well, this is a full slab, so it's got this knuckle right here at the end. It sits on there at an angle, so you just come like this and cut right through the knuckles once you find them, and take that section right on off. And that's all good meat on there. That's all going to get cooked, and that meat's going to get used. Then we got a big old section of flat up here. We're just going to cut that off when it's just not hanging out there in the wind. And kind of square the ribs off a little bit. Alright, if it was competition, I'd get that part right there off, but I'm just going to leave it on there. It's not hurting anything. Then we're going to wash it good, and we're going to go ahead and pat it dry just like we did the chicken wings with a paper towel. Now, my secret recipe's fixing to happen here real quick, so pay attention. I'm not going to hold it on the screen too long. But that's it right there. Nothing about the particular brand, but maple syrup. Okay? That is going to be our binder. Put a little bit of pure maple syrup. Now, I'm not talking about no Aunt Jemima stuff. I'm talking about pure 100% organic maple syrup. That's what you want. And it doesn't take much. Teaspoon per side. Rub that in good. And go ahead and put some of that rib on there. And we're using that Weber tailgater again. Alright. And just rub it in good. Rub it in with that maple syrup. And get both sides done nice and even. And then we're going to stick that in the refrigerator uncovered for a couple hours. Alright. By that time we're flipping our chicken wings. They're looking pretty good, don't they? Look at that. Alright, wings are cooking, the ribs are in the refrigerator, just letting that maple syrup and stuff get in there, and we're checking out our Case Hobo, thinking about how sweet it is. And now it's time to get the ribs back out. We're going to take our maple syrup and put just a little bit more on there. Now be careful, you're going to be tempted to put some more rub on there. Alright, but don't do it, okay, because it's going to be too strong. Alright, you put plenty on there the first time. It's still there. It just sucked in. If you put a whole nother coat on there, well, that's going to be twice as strong. It's probably going to be more or too much for you, to be honest with you. So just put a little bit more syrup on there. Get it glossy looking again. You know, we left it uncovered in the refrigerator. We let it dry out a little bit, so it should be taking that in good. And now they're going to go on that pellet smoker if they don't end up on the ground first. And ta-da! Alright. And then we're going to lower the temperature down to about 250 on these ribs. And just let them go. While we go inside, eat some of those chicken wings. Here's some of that extra meat we trimmed off. It's going to go on here. And that's the meat that went in the beans that you saw a few minutes ago. Alright, and we already pulled these chicken wings off. And we started cooking the beans. Stuck the meat in after this and then put them back on later. Alright, and then here's our ribs after about an hour. And we threw a couple hot dogs on there just to see how the hot dogs turned out on the Reqtec. And about 4 hours later, our ribs are done, our beans are done, thanks to the Hobo knife. And we're going to open this hobo up, separate it into the fork. Alright, that's going to use to eat our ribs. We're going to need a spoon to eat our beans. We got one right here. And we don't really need the knife because the meat's falling off the bone, but that knife did its duty already. A+. Let me tell you, I really love this Case Hobo. It is so cool. It is so useful. You know, that's one thing about this knife channel. We don't buy knives to stick in a display. We're not a collector. We use our knives. Alright, as you can see right here, I'm using this knife to devour these ribs because they're good. I hope you had a great Memorial Day. I did. I had the Case Hobo. I had my new grill. And I had a good slab of ribs and some chicken wings. And I ate good. And I am happy. I hope you're happy too. Thanks for watching the video. Be safe and good night.